Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Apollo Justice, Ace Attorney, Case 4. It's a pretty quiet screen we got going on here. Last we were talking to Uncle Grammary over here, and he was off to do something, probably something for his stage show or whatever. But yeah, our last move, or at least the last thing we left off on, is we need to head back to, I think it's the detention center. Because, oh right, we were trying to meet up with the reporter. We haven't met the reporter yet. And we kind of got the hint that the reporter might have gone to the detention center. So that's what we're doing. We didn't beat the game yet? Nah. We're almost there, though, Punk. We're almost there. We are on the final case, as far as I know, for this game. Unless there's one that unlocks after you do the other 4 cases, or there's a DLC case for this game, which I don't think there's a DLC case for this game. I think those are in the 3DS games. I truly believe that this is the last case. So, to the detention center with us. And I really think this case is going to get real juicy real fast here. Because right now we're like gearing up for a practice trial, or like a trial simulation, or whatever they called it. And it seems like it's going to turn from a trial simulation into a full-on regular-ass trial where we're trying to get our defendant off, because I think we're gonna find out that our defendant is actually not guilty. So that's where the big twist is gonna come here. But we haven't even got to the practice trial yet, so we'll see what happens. October 7th, detention center, visitors room. I think I hear what you're saying. We're all doing it for the money. End quote. I don't know if this is a dude or a chick. This is the reporter, I'm assuming. I don't know. Once I see this reporter, I'll decide on a voice. I wonder if it's somebody we know from, like, other games. No, not at all. Looks like someone's already meeting here. Maybe that reporter? Holy shit. That is not what I pictured when I thought we were going to meet a reporter. Okay. Here's our reporter, I guess. Something about him is creepy. I don't know if it's almost bald head, it's the rosy cheeks, it's the graying beard, or whatever the hell's on his face. I don't know. But something creepy about him already. Well, what do I do with his voice? That's the question. Should he have a reporter voice? I don't know. Like, hey there, how you doing? Who might you be? I don't know. That's not a reporter voice. I don't know I don't even know what that is. We already have like a big announcer voice that we're using for Grammary, in which we're going to definitely see more of him in this case. This guy's probably going to end up being pretty important here, just because he's getting introduced early. Or I could just give him the nerdy voice. Hey there, how you doing? Who might you be? He could just be the nerdy voice. Also, whoa! That early raid, yo. Let's go. Hey. The early raid. All right.
Let's get crunk. No, actually, no. Let's never.
Thank you for shouting out our raider, Icicle Gaming.
It's too late.
Looks like they're playing some Witcher. Absolutely. All right. Well, Icicle Gaming, thank you for the raid. I appreciate it. And also thank you for saying hi with the raid there, Brado Pie. Welcome in, and welcome in, Raiders. I don't know if I've seen you before, Icicle Gaming, but welcome in. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope you are having fun with your Atelier Riza 2. I don't remember how you say that, but I know which game series that is. Riza, I don't know how you say that. I've never played any of those games, but I'm fully aware of what they are. But anyway, welcome into Apollo Justice Ace Attorney. I'm Funky G. I am playing this game for my first time ever. This particular one. I've played the original trilogy a long time ago, but I've yet to play Apollo Justice and Beyond. So if you're coming in from, having knowledge of this series, please refrain from spoilers, but I appreciate you coming in to hang out, watch the case as it unfolds. We're here on the 4th case, and we just met this guy, as you can tell by the question marks, and I was trying to come up with a voice for him, because I do all the voices for this, and it's, I'm a little off-put. I might just give him their nerdy voice, because I haven't really given anybody a nerdy voice in this playthrough so far, but he seems like he fits that bill. But anyway, I am having a good stream. I actually just got started about 10 minutes ago, so I've only been live for only a few short minutes. So, but thank you for the raid. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, nerdy voice seems like a good idea. I agree. So, yeah. Without further ado, I shall continue to do voices. Hope you don't cringe too hard. The newbies, new people. Anyway. Hey there, how you doing? Who might you be? Sorry, we didn't know someone was already here. I'm Apollo Justice. He's I almost called him Ace Attorney at Law. Attorney at Law. Talk about a nervous monkey. You? You're Justice? You? Oh my god. I'm sorry. I don't even know if this nerdy voice works for this face. This face is terrifying. Why do you have to have such big teeth? Terrifying, bro. You know me? It's that Attack on Titan smile. Oh my god. That shit's terrifying too. Do I know you? Of course I know you! Stares down witnesses on stand till they spill beans. End quote. That's not true. What's he writing? And why is he writing it on his arm? Weirdo. You've actually never played these games before, but you've always been interested? Oh, well, stick around, see if you like what you see. They're very silly, very full of puns, and they get quite dark sometimes because they're usually about murder. Hence the, fact that we're in the trial rooms. But yeah. I started a little early today, Marl. I did, but I also have just barely started playing the game, and now I keep stopping to talk to chat. But thank you for the lurk. Appreciate it. Bye-bye. Alright, anyway. Are you a reporter by any chance? Woo! You're Trucy! Am I famous? Oh yeah! Trucy Wright hates carrying a bag. Puts everything she owns in her panties. End quote. What? Wow. Puts everything in her... She owns... everything she owns, huh? That's not true. Just hold on to your breeches there. I'll wrap up this interview in a jiffy. Interview? So, guard, I think I know what's going on here. Guarding rooms is my life. What else could I possibly need? End quote. No, how many times do I have to tell you this? Look, I've got work to do. You deal with him. Did you come here to interview the guard? Ooh-wee, what a pickle. Accused wouldn't talk. Had to interview someone or go plumb crazy. End quote. Huh? I should have guessed. There she is. Where are my manners? Name's BRUSHEL. Spark BRUSHEL. I actually forgot what his name was because we did learn it from a card earlier. So his name's Spark BRUSHEL. I was trying to figure out if this is a pun for something or anything like that, but I don't know. I don't know. Yo, why are we still talking about this miner's panties? Japan, please. To be fair, I mean, the English translators could have changed it, but nah. They wanted to just hammer home the panties joke because it's hilarious. They tried to call them underwear, but she was like, no, Nick, or sorry, no, Apollo, they're panties. I was like, okay, Jesus, fine, not underwear, panties, I'm sorry. Alright, this fucking guy, Spark BRUSHEL. I guess his hair is kind of like a fucking paintbrush a little bit, sure. I'm not picky. Journalist just closes eyes, writes, end quote. What's that nauseatingly strong mint smell every time he grins? Until you've been interviewed by me, you don't know what thrilling is. Wild romp through crossroads of mayhem, madness, end quote. I can see that. He's writing something again. Well, if he's a reporter, maybe he knows something. Well, I guess we're going to talk to him because... I guess we have to. So, Mr. BRUSHEL, you're a journalist? Ah, me? Look, let me state one thing for the record here. Yes? I'm the interviewer, you understand, yeah? I'm the one asking the questions here, end quote. Okay. For instance, you think a movie director watches movies? Well, I think he probably does. Exactly! I knew you'd understand. Huh? Wow. Talk about fucking speaking in goddamn fortune cookie riddles. This guy looks like one of your high school chemistry teachers, punk. Yeah. He definitely fits that science teacher bill for sure. All right, tell us about what happened on the night of the crime, homie. We heard you were there. So, the night of the murder, you were at True Studio, right?
Who, me? Let me state one thing for the record.
Yes?
I may look calm and collected, but I'm busy, real busy, always on the road. Journalist always buys one-way tickets, never looks back, end quote.
I can understand that philosophy, but...
You want to know the thing about one-way tickets? Once you use them, they're gone. All because you have to give them to the guy at the airport.
True enough. But don't they give normal tickets away too?
Exactly! See? It's the same thing.
What is? This guy's talking in motherfucking cryptic bullshit. Can't wait to smack this guy around and make him tell us shit. Anyway, you have an appointment to get to, so you're out? Alright, well thank you for the raid once again, High School Gaming. I do appreciate it. You have a good day. And if any of your raiders stick around, I appreciate you bringing them over here. So yeah. Have a good day. The interview. Let's talk about what you talked to the dude about. So, you went to do a story on Drew Misham. And he'd never had a story done about him before?
That's right! Look, let me state one thing for the record here.
What?
I'm sure you're going to want to know about my source. What tipped me off to Drew? Why do the interview in the first place?
Well, yes.
Looks like it. It's like... Oh, I've got it. Say, there's this burger joint with fabulous ketchup. You think the burger guy's going to tell me where he got it?
At the supermarket, maybe?
Exactly, see? That's what I'm talking about.
I think I may have actually understood that one. I'm not sure I understand it.
Well, there's nothing I can talk about, really. Walls have ears, eyes, especially glass walls with speakers, end quote.
Right. Well, I guess we'll leave then.
But since you're here, might as well tell you a tidbit of news I saw, just for the heck of it.
Sure, tell us, just for the heck of it.
I remember it like it was yesterday. I'd seen a movie on a trip and wandered into this burger place with amazing ketchup, when an article in a tabloid caught my eye. Famous oil painting stolen from art dealer's gallery, end quote, I believe it was.
An oil painting? Also, what the fuck did his nose just do?
Happens every day, right? But I thought I'd seen that painting somewhere before. A painting of a giant peach floating down a river.
Yeah, like, his nose got all pink and weird? That was weird. Someone stole an oil painting of a giant peach?
Journalists can smell scoop better than burgers, end quote.
Oh, okay. Do I have to show him the painting, maybe? I'm gonna guess that's a yes. I don't know. Should I present him everything we see? I don't know. I feel like he won't have anything to say about most of this stuff. But hey, whatever. He's a new character. Let's present him everything. Badge.
Right. Let me go on the record here.
Yes?
I know what you're going to say. Brushel, take this. Write brilliant column. End quote.
I don't think so.
Look, buddy, I write brilliant columns about one thing, and that's food. Try to understand.
What could he possibly be writing? He didn't listen to a word I said. Alright, so I'm assuming that's going to be his default line if I give him something he doesn't give a fuck about. Alright. Yeah, same thing. Alright, I'm expecting that he's going to do this with most of the shit, but I'm going to go through all of it and see if he has any reaction to anything. Even if it's just for one bit of extra dialogue. I'm surprised he didn't react to my attorney badge. Alright, nothing about her card. Got it. What about this painting? No? Nothing about that painting. When we get to the peach painting, maybe he'll react. The blowfish painting? No. Alright. Here is the peach painting, or at least the unfinished one. No? Okay. That's the unfinished one. Maybe he'll react to the other one that's, like, completed. Okay. Nothing about the mailbox, unsurprisingly. Here's the painting, right? No? Really? I figured he'd react to the actual peach painting for sure, because he's the one that talked about it. Alright, well, I'm going to go through everything. Cup of poisoned coffee. No, or at least the cup is poisoned, not the coffee. Red envelope. Nothing. So he's just ignoring everything. He doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't give a fuck about anything that I have to say. Alright, well, fuck you too, buddy. I guess we're done here then. We can't talk to the girl right now, so I guess I'll come back when I have another piece of evidence or something. I guess. Let's go back to the agency, I guess. Anything to talk to Phoenix about anymore? Should I present Phoenix any stuff that we found? Like, is he gonna care about any of this? I don't know. Presenting, are we? I did my fair share of that back in the day. Showed my attorney's badge a lot, too.
He may look cool and calm now, but you should have seen him before.
You know me too well, Trucy. Glad I provided this opportunity for a little family bonding. Alright, so he's going to just do that to me with everything I present. I'm going to do it with everything. I don't give a shit, Phoenix. You're going to react to something, or you're just going to keep laughing in my face. The likelihood he reacts to anything except for maybe my badge and the pink envelope he gave us is pretty low. But I'm doing it anyways. Alright, he's not going to react to any of the paintings. Just stop. I say just stop, and here I am still showing him. Alright. Card? No. What does he say about the letter? Nothing about the letter. Okay, that's the one he gave us, so he doesn't say shit about that either. Alright, last will be my actual attorney's badge. Let's see if he reacts to that at least. Nope. He also just laughs in our face at everything we show him. Cool. Really glad we took the time to do that. Alright, moving on. Back to Drew Studio, I guess. Oh, here we go. October 7th, Drew Studio. Well, how'd it go? Find anything out? Actually, there was one thing I wanted to check with you. What's with that scary face you're making? And what's with the I know something but I'm not telling face you got going, Emma? Wow. Nothing to actually talk to her about, so I gotta present her something, I guess. Unless there's something different that's happening here that wasn't like it before, but I don't see anything obvious that's different here, so let's just present to her things that we didn't have before, which I think is just... Wait, did I think I had all this stuff, actually. I actually don't think I have anything new to present to her that we didn't already have before, right? Because we got all this stuff while we were here. Huh. I'm actually not sure. Let's go back to the Coliseum, I guess. Okay. I'm not sure right now. Huh. Maybe there's something I can examine here that's different, that wasn't the way it was before. Oh, nothing seems to be different. Huh. Is there anything that was updated information-wise? This painting came from behind that dresser. Ah, yes, so? It was stolen, no? Oh, we're gonna ask her about the peach painting. Okay. I was thinking maybe something about the paintings, but okay. That was just a shot in the dark as a maybe. I was hoping you wouldn't figure that out. Do you think you could tell us a bit about this? I suppose. It's what you think. Drew Misham was a forger. Oh, shit. He was painting the same painting again. That is what it looks like he was doing. A forger? A forger indeed. Let's talk about the best part of waking up is forging all your paintings.
So what exactly is a forger? Well, basically it's someone who makes forgeries. Fakes, in other words. Fakes? Copies of an original. Exact copies so precise you can't tell them apart. Well, why not just photocopy them? The big problem with forgeries is that people try to sell them as the real article. It's a crime, of course. So True Mission was a criminal? I'm afraid so. He received money to create elaborate forgeries. To supplement his work in illustration, I guess. I see. Actually, that's why I brought this here in the first place.
What do you mean?
When you're trying to determine if a painting is a forgery, the rough sketch underneath can be a valuable clue. So the rough sketch is like practice for the real thing? Like doing a magic trick in front of a mirror before you go on stage. But not in the case of forgery. Not necessarily, anyway. You know what the finished product is going to look like, after all. Oh yeah, I guess you would. That's why I brought this. I'm going to use it to see what's underneath the paint of the finished pieces. I get it now. Not that I really needed to go to such lengths, seeing as how one of the paintings was only half finished anyway. Still, it'd be neat to see Mr. Misham's rough sketches. Kind of like what he was drawing when he thought no one was looking.
True. That would be interesting, and maybe valuable for our case.
You should try buttering her up, Apollo. Flattery will get you everywhere, they say.
Maybe I should ask Emma to help us out. Absolutely. Can we, do I have to present? I'm guessing we have to present the painting so we can do the scanning or whatever. I kind of wanted to see the rough sketch under this painting. And I was wondering if your tool there might do the trick.
Oh, fine. Just this time, though. Let's check it out.
Alright, I want to do all of them. I really do. I think maybe the least suspecting one might be the one that actually shows us something interesting. So, here we go. Alright. The sound it makes when you press this button, it kind of reminds me of like you're going around Pac-Manning the shit out of it. It's pretty funny. Curious what this sketch is going to end up being. Oh man. It's somebody sitting there playing cards, like the first case of the game. Oh my god. Are all these paintings going to be shots from the game, from each case? Don't fucking tell me that. Anyway, okay, let's print it. Let's print this one out. Because that's definitely people playing cards from the first case. Absolutely. What? What the heck?
Wow, he really blows. The finished painting isn't anything like the rough. Devices like mine didn't exist until recently. He probably thought he could draw any sort of thing he wanted to for the rough. What do you mean? Well, in the past, you could only analyze the composition of a rough sketch. Composition? In other words, the traces of charcoal between paint and canvas, so you could tell if there had been a rough sketch. But not what it looked like.
I think I follow you. So in essence, it wouldn't matter what was underneath the finished painting.
Some pros would actually paint out a rough sketch entirely, then do a completely new painting on top of that. So Mr. Mission was drawing whatever he wanted before painting over them? Possibly. Is there a problem with that?
Not particularly, but something about the sketch itself is kind of odd.
You're awfully silent all of a sudden, Apollo.
You think we could check out the one of the other paintings?
Well, sure. You like this detection stuff, don't you?
Absolutely. We want to do all of them. Now I'm even more curious what this one's going to have on it. There's 3 paintings. If they cover each of our 3 cases, it's going to be very sus. Just saying. It's going to be very, very sus. Yup. It's gonna cover all the cases, guys, because check it out. It's the motherfucking noodle house.
Okay, let's print this one out.
Yeah, it's the noodle stand, y'all. What the hell? So catch you up a bit, guessing we know more about this guy's profession. If you mean the painter guy, yes, we've learned that he forges paintings. And now we're looking underneath the paintings to see what the original sketches were. And it's getting very juicy now. This one pertains to our second case. This one too?
What's wrong, Apollo? You look so serious all of a sudden.
You think I could just look at the last one of these?
Fine by me. Knock yourself out.
Oh yeah. This is getting very questionable. So apparently the Misham surname is supposed to be pronounced My Sham. Ah, because he's a sham. That makes more sense. My Sham. Because you a liar. Alright, get ready for something that pertains to the case we did with the, probably in the concert hall. I'm not sure if it's showing the dead bodies particularly, but it might be. In which case, it should show the dressing room, but we'll see. If it's just the concert hall in general, that would make sense too. Oh yeah, it's just the concert hall in general. It's the dude up there playing guitar.
Okay, let's print this one out.
Huh. Dude playing guitar on the stage. Got it. What the heck is all this?
I hesitate to ask why you're getting so excited. You sure your device isn't leaking some kind of strange radiation?
Trucy, look at these 3 sketches. Do you notice anything? Uh-huh. 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 And he's on fire. Oh, that's true. He is on fire.
Ah! There! Now you're both white as sheets. What's going on?
These sketches are of the 3 cases I worked on.
What?
The murder in the poker room at the BRUSHEL Club. The dead man pulling the noodle stand. And then the events that transpired during the Gaviner's concert. Dun dun dun.
What could it mean? How could he have drawn those things? And why?
That's what I want to know.
Wait, is Drew Misham?
Yeah, Drew is my sham. Okay, I got it.
Your father?
Wait, what? Give me a break. Does that even seem even remotely possible to you? Thanks, Emma, for going off that rail. I never even heard of any Drew Misham before. I hadn't even seen a picture of him. But there were my cases, drawn on his canvas. Every single one of them. It couldn't have been a coincidence. Just who was this Drew Misham? And what did he have to do with me? Find out next time on Ace Attorney Apollo Justice. Alright, guys. I wasn't sure how much more first day investigations there was going to be, but there you go. Now we have an even bigger question mark about this whole thing. And as what happens for usual on our first investigation day, and we know there's going to be more than one trial day most likely, we're lost in the dark with a bunch of clues or a bunch of evidence and no real, like, what the fuck is going on right now. Yes, just a simple case with no complications indeed, DJ. Alright, well, no complications, we say. Who's ready for some trial action? Alright, big sip of water, and we doing it. Here we go. Yeah, we don't really know jack shit right now. I agree, Omega. But you know what? We'll at least learn a lot more in court today, and then we can start putting pieces together on the next investigation day. October 8th, 9:48 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 6. Right. I forgot. We're defending her. Good morning. Blink, blink. Blink, blink.
So you're Vera, right? I'm Trucy. Trucy Wright. That's right, with a W. But not right, right?
Right. don't think she's going to say anything to us.
We're on your side. You can tell us anything, please.
Good morning. She speaks.
Not bad, not bad. But I think you do better with a little smile, you know. You're so pretty. You need to sell yourself, you know.
Trucy, let's take it easy for starters. She's not going to smile, but she'll draw a smile for you. Thank you for taking my case. Vera acts like Hinata when Naruto's around. Is that how she acts? I haven't really watched much Naruto, so I know nothing about Hinata. Okay, well, that's a start, I guess. There she goes with the nail polish again.
That's great, really. It's so cultured.
Want to try?
Oh, really?
Girls. Wow. What a fucking riveting conversation. The victim, Drew Misham, was a forger. I like how his picture has paint in his on his face and in his hair. Don't forget, he's the paint guy. There's paint on his face. And a stolen painting was found in his studio. A life of crime, really? And maybe one that led to his death. So many questions. Here we go. October 8th, 10 a.m., District Court, Courtroom number 3. Oh boy, guess who's against us? Big surprise. Well, we will now begin the trial of the Vera Misham.
Is the judge okay? His voice is all raspy, and he's looking around all nervous-like.
The repercussions of today's trial will most likely be felt for a long time, and may indeed alter our legal system forever. So every video game Ace Attorney after this will be very different. Today is a test of the jurist system, and the first step toward a new order in our courts.
Daddy's secret mission.
The jurists will function like a jury. It is hoped their inclusion will help the courts to better reflect the people's will. Why aren't there any jurists in the courtroom? 3 closed-circuit cameras watch this courtroom at all times. The jurists have access to everything that transpires. Jurist, Judge Well, and Judge Cool. Now see here, Prosecutor Gavin. I was going to say that. Oh, my apologies there, Judge. Jurist, today, judge today's trial coolly, if you would be so kind. The jurists are unbound by the letter of the law. They don't affect the trial with evidence, but by their feelings. And we're about to find out just what effect they're going to have. Very well, Prosecutor Gavin. The details of this case, if you would. The victim is the painter, Drew Misham. He was killed in his own studio. His coffee was poisoned. By whom, you ask? By none other than the defendant, Vera Misham. Objection! There wasn't any poison in the coffee. Someone has been doing their homework. Indeed, poison was not present in the coffee, but on the mug itself. The mug? Ah, residue was found on the rim, I see. The autopsy report describes the manner of our victim's death. The court accepts this as evidence. Alright, so now we have the autopsy report, which we always end up getting when the damn trial starts, but that's fine. He was poisoned from 9 to 9:30. So far, like, almost none of our autopsy reports have actually mattered for any actual evidence, except for maybe the first one we did when we first learned, you know, the trial, case 1 tutorial trial. But otherwise, the autopsy report has kind of just been a moot point that has details that we don't necessarily need to use for anything. But maybe we will this time, who knows. It definitely says he was poisoned with that kind of poison, atroquinine. Alright. According to this report, the victim's death was caused by atroquinine poisoning, a chemical compound that does not occur naturally. Lethal dosage is a mere 0.002 milligrams. A touch of atroquinine in the body is the touch of the Reaper's scythe. Very well, Prosecutor Gavin. You may present your witness. I have for you today a simple man for a simple case. A man who witnessed the murder in its entirety. That journalist, no doubt. Time to start speaking in riddles. Here we go. The witness will state his name and occupation.
Ah, right. Well, for starters, my name's BRUSHEL. My job is a lone observer of the world.
In other words, a freelance journalist, right?
If you don't mind, I'd like to state something here for the record.
Yes, Mr. Brushel.
I dislike conclusions, specifically the aspect of jumping to conclusions. Preconceptions make park sandbox of endless desert waste. End quote.
He reminds you of the hospital creep guy? Kind of a little bit, with that big creepy smile for sure. I could see that. Anyway, but you are a journalist. You said so yourself yesterday.
Well, that's true, yes. But you must understand, I stand before you today a man with a dream. I'm offering you my testimony in exchange for exclusive rights to the story. Scoop turns Mr. Brushel into that Mr. Brushel. End quote.
Oh my god. Let's hear your testimony then, shall we? A simple case, eh, Gavin? For me, the jury is still out. Mm-hmm. Start poking holes in this bitch's testimony. Here we go. Journalist story. Sorry, I had a big yawn.
I visited the studio around 9 o'clock that night to do the interview. The first outsider to enter the atelier, journalistic history made. End quote. His daughter brought us coffee right after we started. And you know what happened next? Star falls. End quote. No one else entered the room besides her the whole time.
Okay. That does sound like a simple case. Unless you were the one who poisoned him.
Wow, what are you saying, Judge?
Need I remind you, the cameras are rolling today. I felt the need to be a bit dramatic. You didn't do it, did you?
Me do a thing like that? Come on, that's like newsmaker making the news, end quote. Or even contemporary witch hunt, end quote. I know, wild accusations rock courtroom, end quote.
Rock indeed.
Prosecutor Gavin sure looks like he's having fun.
I'm so happy for him. Very well, Mr. Justice, your cross-examination, please. All right, let's get into it. Also, Morrow, hi. What am I supposed to guess? What? I don't know. What am I guessing? Hello? What's up? Oh, your coworker called off again. Jeez. Are her kids having issues this week, or is she sick, or like, what's up, man? I mean, is she even explaining? Anyway, that seems ridiculous. Alright, anyway, we're going to cross-examine this motherfucker right here. The journalist's story. We're going to press everything this boy has to say. I was kind of waiting to see, allegedly her kid has strep throat and she's got no one to take care of her. I gotcha. Well, if that's the case, I mean, that's the case, Morrow. I mean, I guess you can only really take her at her word at this point, right? Alright. Anyway, let's press this dude on everything he says. 9 o'clock at night? Isn't that a little late for an interview?
If the great painter Drew Misham says come at 9 o'clock, believe you me, I go at 9 o'clock. The first and, as it turned out, the last interview with such a prolific painter.
Right. Can you tell us what it was like when you arrived? Not much out of that one. First outsider to enter the atelier. You were the first reporter ever in Drew's studio?
Posterity will look back on that night as a turning point in journalistic history. A basically insignificant step for all mankind, but a giant step for that Brushel guy, end quote.
If no one on the outside ever had access to the studio, then it would serve to reason that the deed was done by an insider. By which he means Vera did it. So how did this epic-making interview go? Daughter brought us coffee. Okay, press that. Would you mind being a little more specific?
Ooh-wee, let me tell you, I enjoy a cuppa. In fact, it all began when I was in 3rd grade. No, wait, 4th grade. That's not what I meant.
I believe I know what Air Forehead is driving at. This coffee the victim was served. Did anyone other than the defendant touch it?
Right, that.
That's what I was gonna say, really.
Well now, if you got a question to ask, you'd best straight up ask it. That's what I tell all the new recruits, several times if necessary. Write for a grade schooler. That's my motto. Which isn't to say I can only write grade school level stuff, mind you.
Who touched the coffee, goddammit?
Dunno. I was in the back, looking at the studio's equipment when she served it.
And what happened next? Okay. And you know what happened next? Star falls, end quote. Okay. Also, hold on, guys. DJ has a riveting joke. Hold on. Let's tell it real quick. I've been wanting to build some extra muscle in my lower leg, so I started drinking more milk. It's been shown to be the best thing for growing calves. Joke delivery. I'm good at it. Alright, let's press on this one. What's this about a star falling?
Star falls, huh? It's like an old telegram. Shed money, over. Zowie! You don't know? That's like a journalism code word. An important personage passes away. A star falls, get it? But there's no gravity in space, is there? I wouldn't think stars could fall, really.
Does this matter?
Oh boy, this is good stuff, How about star breaks? Nah, lacks punch. I know, star dies. Nah, lacks imagination. Of course, you could go with Drew dies. Straight to the point, I like it.
Drew dies. I think we need to hear about something a little more substantial than that. I mean, his coffee or even the moment of death could be nice. Did you like how I delivered the joke with the calves? You're welcome. Alright, I want to know more about all this, honestly. But let's learn more about the moment of death, I guess. About when Mr. Mission passed away.
Oh boy, what a scene that was. He puts his coffee mug down with a crash, right?
Yes. And then
the cold finger of death touches his spine. Life's flame sputters and fails. So cold was that touch, he could do naught but tremble uncontrollably. Actually, Life's flame is a little tired. Life's river froze over. Yes, that's a go.
I think he's starting his article already. Could you describe that a little more simply?
Well, as you can imagine, I was pretty surprised. He hit the floor, as they say. Artist seizures, final performance, end quote.
Atroquinine paralyzes the central nervous system. The body arches back like a bow. The limbs tremble and the... That's quite enough of that. Ah, you don't want to hear the specifics? But some of us want to be able to sleep tonight. Dude, you're a judge. You're a fucking judge. You've heard worse. You've heard way worse. Stop it. Stop being a little bitch. Look how old you are. You know how much life you've lived? You know how much shit you've probably seen? Get the fuck over it.
Oh yeah, well I want the details. Lots of juicy details.
For that you can listen to our last year's hit single, Atroquinine, My Love, by the Gaviners, available at all major music outlets. The point here is that the victim died of atroquinine poisoning. Well, Mr. Justice, how did you find that testimony? Not important. You'd think the moment of Mr. Misham's death would be important. Mr. Brushel's story really didn't tell us anything we didn't already know. Very well, please continue with the testimony. Alright, I'm gonna have to call that one out again and push on something else. But let's push on this last one, or press on this last one, and see if anything else pops up before we go back. I agree, Punk, this judge is a little bitch. Can you say that for sure?
For sure? Sure, I'm sure. True Studio isn't a big place, kiddo. I'd know it if someone else had come in.
What if they had been hiding in there from before? Oh, God. Even if someone had been hiding in the studio, they had hardly could have poisoned that mug without anyone noticing.
You think I, Spark Brushel, would miss something as obvious as that? No way. He sure makes it sound exciting. I guess that's his job.
There's only one moment we need to focus on, really.
The moment when Drew Misham died?
Exactly. There has to be something there. Yup. Alright. So, let's go ahead and press this as well. We're going to press this one again and get to the heart of the question where we ask him which one we want him to elaborate on. Yeah, Star breaks, Star dies, Drew dies, we know. Let's hear about your coffee, actually. So you drank the coffee that Vera served you, too?
Course! When someone serves you coffee, you drink it. That's what my old boss always used to say. Never did get what he meant by it, though. What he meant by it, though.
But you're still alive, which is to say you didn't die.
Of course not! No point falling before you're a star. End quote.
That's not exactly what I was getting at. What were you getting at, then? You know the poison was on the rim, not in the coffee.
Oh, yes, yes! There were 2 cups on the tray she brought, and one of the cups had Drew's signature painted on the side.
No chance the guest would take that one by mistake, I guess. Well, Mr. Justice, was that testimony important? Nah. So Brushel drank the coffee, too. Doesn't look like this is going to lead to much. Very well, please continue the testimony. Alright. Gonna go back there and do that one more time and ask him about the other dude's coffee. Because that is the one that's questionable, for sure. Skipping through the dialogue to get back to what I want to ask more about. Thank you. Alright, tell me about the Stars coffee, homie. You say Mr. Misham had the coffee too, but did you actually see him drink the coffee?
Course! He who sees it wins, but he who says it wins bigger. End quote. I live in a man sees dog eat dog and writes about it world. Yet? I guess I can't say I saw him drink it, really. He had one so-called sip, if that. Man puts lips to mug, drinks, end quote.
That poison is quite virulent, I hear.
My stomach did a so-called somersault, since I gulped down that coffee without so much as a second glance at it. Wait, maybe there's something's there, some kind of so-called trick. Anyone want to venture a guess, for the record?
Does this guy have a pause button? Well, Mr. Justice, did you find that testimony valuable? I mean, I guess. The victim drank his coffee, then immediately fell over?
Oh, yes, you could go to the press with that one.
Your Honor, this is a vital piece of information. Please add it to the testimony. Alright. Very well, the witness will add this to his testimony.
Vital, right.
Okay, hopefully that was...
He had one sip, if that. The next moment, he was on the floor.
Okay, let's press on this, I guess. So he either took a sip, or he didn't, and then fell over?
Oh yes, indubitably. Just like that. Wham bam!
So Mr. Misham drank the coffee and fell over immediately. I think Brushel's telling the truth, too. Should I get him to talk about something else? No. Problem with the testimony is already pretty obvious. Is it? Is there something in my fucking... Not many poisons would work that fast? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's something I can really roll with right now. I mean... He took one sip, you say.
See that there? That's poison.
Yeah?
Don't lick it, Apollo.
Don't worry, I'll be fine.
No, you won't. You'll die.
Look, I know. I meant I won't lick it.
Who knows what you would do when I'm not watching?
Concern is touching, really. Next thing you know, she'll be telling me not to drink coffee before bedtime. Thanks, Mom. Anyway, okay. Do I have any pieces of evidence? I feel like... It's a slow acting... Yeah, it says actually. It actually does say it. It does say slow acting. You're right, punk. You know, I know you didn't really mean to point that out, but it is slow acting, so how could he have fallen on the floor so quickly? Why would he have been poisoned immediately? I don't know. It should have took a minute. Also, the coffee wasn't spilled, which if it happened immediately, he would have spilled the coffee everywhere, right? That's what I've been thinking this whole time, too. It's like, wouldn't the coffee just be all over the fucking place if he fell and died immediately? So I'm going to go ahead and just say that that's the problem here, that it's a slow acting poison, because that is the case.
Objection!
I wasn't sure if any of our evidence actually said that, but it does. You know what I have a problem with? A particular property of the poison used. Atroquinine.
Oh, Prosecutor Gavin was quite clear about the poison. A lethal dosage of 0.002 milligrams paralyzes the central nervous system. If you drank that, even you, Mr. Justice, would be reduced to a quivering pile.
You're not paying attention to the game. You just know how things work, punk. No, I know. I know you didn't do that on purpose. That's why I was like, wow. I was thinking kind of similar thing. Like, how would he die instantly if he didn't spill coffee everywhere? But also, it does flat out say that the poison is a slow-acting poison. It flat out says it. So, instantly falling doesn't make sense. Why are you using me as an example? Unfortunately, we weren't told everything. There was a vital omission in Prosecutor Gavin's information.
An omission?
Atroquinine is a virulent, as he says. But death doesn't come upon ingestion, not immediately. That's because atroquinine is slow-acting.
Slow acting?
What?
According to one forensic scientist, the only one I know.
It's one of the most virulent poisons, but it's absorbed into the body astonishingly slow.
What is this voice I'm doing?
It takes at least 15 minutes from the time of ingestion for adverse effects to show.
He's doing the wrong voice. If we suppose that the moment Mr. Misham sipped the coffee was when he sealed his fate, then he would still have had time to enjoy his last cup of joe, motherfucker. Damn, this guy's a stick up there.
Order! Order! What's the meaning of this? If what the defense says is correct, why, that contradicts the entire testimony we've just heard.
Well, Mr. Brushel, anything to say on the record?
Slow acting. SLOWACT. It was virulent, all right. Even then, it had already begun digging its claws into the journalist.
He's working on his scoop.
Objection!
What do you want, Gavin?
It's Brushel, yeah? Brushel, let's take a trip back down memory lane.
Huh?
Did the victim really die the instant he took a sip? Think it over. Think this is vital.
You know what I think? I think that was a not-so-subliminal suggestion. End quote.
I admit, it does cause a problem if he died when you say he died. I would be forced to say Auf Wiedersehen to my simple case. And you would be forced to say farewell to your article.
Come again?
You can't write a story based on conjecture, can you? And as the case drags on, other reporters will pick up the scent. And you'll be forced to kiss your exclusive scoop goodbye.
Scoop! Scoop!
Oh my god, he's brushing his tongue. I think he's brushing his eyes too. Oh my god, what is this? What is this? What is this? Why is he doing these things? Stop it.
Look, wait, just wait a second. Just wait a second. Just 1 second.
We're waiting. We're waiting. Out with it.
Oh, he does have glasses on. It's just silly that he's brushing him right. I know he isn't brushing his eyes directly. It's just so weird.
I think I just recalled a so-called important detail. A revival of recollection, end quote. A story survival, end quote.
Attorney utterly confused, end quote.
Actually, I did notice something when I visited the studio. I'd heard a poison that takes its sweet time, see?
But not what I've been saying for the last few minutes, apparently. Mr. Brushel, are you saying you noticed something that explains what happened?
You bet I am. The antidote for a poisonous contradiction, end quote, you might say.
Or, I still have no idea what you're talking about, end quote, I might say.
I figured it out, but only after an in-depth interview. See, thanks to my journalism skills, I know who poisoned that coffee.
Oh god, here we go.
Order! 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 As far as I can tell, the witness is standing by his testimony that Mr. Misham died the instant after he drank.
Of course I'm standing by my testimony, and my dream of exclusive rights to this story.
I suppose it was too much to hope for.
What was?
Of course he wouldn't choose a simple case, not him. Him?
Yeah, we're talking about Phoenix now.
Phoenix, right, who else? tongue, BRUSHEL. Report for us, if you would. What is it that you noticed? This court is a critical trial of the juris system. I'm afraid no room for doubt is permissible. You will testify to the court about what you noticed.
Indeed. Yeah, Apollo pretty much summed up our entire situation. Defense attorney utterly confused. End quote. And yes, there's a lot of crap in this game and all Ace Attorney games really, where witnesses' testimony would be completely hooey and garbage and very unusable in court. A lot of it would be thrown out in most of these games. But you know what? It's a video game. So we'll just take it with that and moving on. All right, voice. Next round. Here we go. What BRUSHEL noticed.
When I arrived at the studio, Mr. Mission was at his desk. He seemed to be writing a letter, but he quickly sealed the envelope. I thought nothing of it at the time, of course. Now that I think about it, what if he was writing a suicide note?
What?
A suicide note?
Yes, he had this look on his face. Man's face inscrutable as a quadratic equation, end quote.
Suicide? Poor Mr. Mission.
But that means Vera's innocent.
Would someone commit suicide in the middle of an interview? Oh.
Very well. You may begin your cross-examination.
I was going to say the same thing, Omega. Him killing himself makes even less sense than anything else we've already heard. So there's got to be something we can easily press or contradict here. Killing himself, huh? All right, Mr. Mission was at his desk. Okay. You think this dude's actually the real killer? I don't know. I don't know who the real killer is yet. If he is, then wow, we're starting off with the real killer, and we're gonna get to the real we're gonna have to do a bunch of bullshit to get back to him being the real killer. I feel like this guy's shady AF, but I don't know if he killed him. That's the thing. He kind of reminds me of Lotta Hart from the original trilogy, not character-wise, but like his purpose is to be like this reporter person who could be a suspect who kind of paints themselves into a corner like, oops, oh, I didn't do it, and then they're going to have to defend themselves out of it to prove that they didn't do it, because Lotta had to do that too. So I'm thinking it's going to be something like that. But we'll see. I might be wrong. Maybe he is the killer. He's certainly creepy enough. Anyway, was there anyone at the studio other than Mr. Mission?
Well, his daughter Vera, of course.
Was anyone besides Mr. Mission and Vera present?
Not a single one. Not a cat, not a rat, not even a mouse.
The only person who didn't belong to that studio there was you, wasn't it, Mr. BRUSHEL?
I know what you're doing. I know your game. Attorney uses classic Ramsden phenomenon ploy. End quote.
If you intend to suggest that this reporter is a suspect, I'm sure you also intend to present evidence supporting that assertion, correct? In the meantime, let's move along, shall we?
I mean, does he have an alibi to prove that he wasn't a suspect? Because we haven't heard that yet. But anyway, let's press about the letter in the envelope. Why is that important? So he put the letter away when he saw you.
Early reporter gets worm. End quote. That's my secret.
I'm not sure I follow.
It's the night of the interview. I arrive 15 minutes ahead of schedule. The handle turns, the door opens, and I barge in.
Are you sure that's okay to do? I mean, isn't that unlawful entry, really?
Mr. Mission sure seemed to think so. You should have seen him. He crammed his letter into that yellow envelope as fast as he could. I know a secret when I spot one, and that was one.
It does seem significant. Well, Mr. Justice?
I wonder. It does have the ring of something important. Add it to the testimony, because if it's the envelope we know about, it's red and not yellow. The defense finds this testimony vital, Your Honor.
Very well. Please add it to the testimony then.
Hey, why not? My account comes free of charge.
It was a yellow envelope. I heard it was left at the crime scene. Well, there's your issue right there, but we'll press on it anyways. And you saw him seal this yellow envelope with the letter?
Hey, don't look at me like that. I saw what I saw.
Apollo, you think this might be our big break? Yeah.
What I need to show some, what I need is to show some evidence, decisive evidence now. Yeah, it's the red envelope. I know. Thought nothing of it at the time, of course. I'm gonna press everything before I do it, but that's definitely where we have a contradiction for sure. You didn't think anything might be wrong at the time? Hey, when I go in for an interview, that's what I'm there to do. Interviewer finds looking more effective than caring. End quote. So, what about now? Thinking back on it, did you sense anything strange in Mr. Misham's behavior? Well, yeah. That's why I'm telling you all this to begin with.
Very well, continue with your testimony.
Alright. Nothing special there, obviously. I think he was writing a suicide note. That sounds like some bullshit, too. A suicide note? Well, yeah. Don't quote me or anything. I'm just saying it's a possibility, you know? So you didn't actually check the letter? Of course not. It was sealed. Contents of can, unknown until can is opened. End quote. You can always check the label. Do you think Mr. Misham was writing a suicide note? If he was, that would solve the case in a jiffy. It kind of makes me wonder about that letter. Yeah, it is about that letter. Alright, so let's go to the yellow. Let's just present the red envelope because that's the one that was found at the scene. We didn't find any other envelopes at the scene. So either he's lying that it was because he forgot what color it was, or there was a yellow envelope that has gone missing and he might have taken it. Or somebody took it. So I feel like I know how these games go, and if I present this, it's going to be like, but there was only a red one found. Oh no, it's definitely yellow. I saw it, and then we're going to find out the yellow envelope was taken and find it later. Because this is still early in the case. And either that, or he's colorblind. That is a good point. But if he's colorblind, that makes this even more hilarious. But, okay. Red envelope, bitch. Here we go.
Objection!
As it just so happens, there was a single letter in a desk drawer at the scene. In a red envelope, bitch! What? Wow. Did he just use his tongue? This guy. Such a fucking cartoon. Prosecutor Gavin.
Yes. Was the yellow envelope found at the scene? Oh, sorry. Was the yellow envelope found at the scene of the crime? Unfortunately, no. But Airforehead, it's easy to mistake the color of an envelope.
Huh. Yeah, sure. I guess. But not this envelope. You see, it was postmarked already. 7 years ago.
Well, Mr. Brushel.
I can explain that. Drew, right? He wanted to get that letter in an envelope pronto. Get it out of sight out of my beady eyes, right? So he grabbed the nearest envelope and crammed away.
What about that whole red and yellow envelope contradiction, chump?
Well, Mr. Justice, have you anything to say to the witness's claim?
That night, the victim put a letter he had been writing in a red envelope. It's not possible, right? Because the letter is old too. I don't know. Let's just say impossible. That's impossible.
Ah, I like your expression, so full of confidence.
It's simple, really. As it just so happens, the defense team investigated the contents of this envelope with the assistance of a forensic scientist.
What?
Note that this letter is addressed to Drew Misham. Oh, yeah, I was gonna say the letter inside contradicts everything, so it doesn't even matter what he thinks was in there. Why would he address a letter to himself? Let alone send a suicide note to himself. I've been scooped! Yeah, you're just making shit up now, bro. Stop it. Stop it.
Order, order, order. Mr. Brushel, can you explain this to the court?
Oh, my. How could I have forgotten? I suppose this happens to the best of us. Reporter gets old, forgets lots. End quote.
I'm still waiting for an explanation, Mr. Brushel.
Well, that's the thing, see? After he put his letter in that envelope, Mr. Misham sat there searching his desk drawer for something.
Oh, that was just his tie? Dude, in my brain, it looked like he grabbed his tongue and tied it around his head, which would be hilarious and fucking weird. His desk drawer?
Yes, a stamp, a so-called postage stamp. End quote.
A stamp? Whatever for?
Well, to mail his letter. What else? And then, why, yes, I think I saw him put it in his letterbox. Yes, it was a yellow envelope, and he put it in that box.
Well, apparently this yellow letter has nothing to do with this case.
Oh, how I wish it did. Just think, if that were a suicide note, what a story. Star writes suicide note in front of reporter. False. End quote.
Ahem. As I was saying, that has nothing to do with this case. That said,
Yes, Your Honor?
it makes me wonder about the contents of that red envelope.
That's the letter. The $100,000. Sign papers and send it out. Close within 3 days. I do not mind you not speak of this to anyone.
$100,000 is quite a good deal of money. So this was from 7 years ago, yeah?
So, am I finished here? Am I finished here? I was thinking of, going home to start writing.
Are you fucking serious? This judge is so dumb. You wish the judge was the killer so we could send him to jail. He is pretty fucking dumb, no doubt. I think it's kind of the charm of these games, though. The judge being so fucking gullible and dumb is like, it's funny as hell, but it's frustrating to be like, bro, come on. Anyway, I hate to state that what should be pretty obvious to anyone, but when you catch the scent of a story, you make that rather unique face.
Ah, come on! Attorney has active imagination, little else. End quote.
Even I noticed something, and my eyes aren't what they used to be. You know, I'm starting to understand what all this perceiving stuff is about.
Judge has active imagination. End quote.
Please, continue with your testimony. Tell us about the scent of a story.
Hey, I'm the one asking the questions here, usually.
We're in fucking court. You are the one being asked the questions. Get the fuck out of here, bro. Alright, scent of a story. Here we go.
Actually, it took a bit of work to get a thumbs up on the interview. Reporter leverages story, gets his interview, end quote. The story concerned a certain case from 7 years ago. That red envelope probably had something to do with it. Say what you will, but Drew's talent was without compare.
So you threatened to go to press with the story. That's how you got your interview. Blackmail?
Well, yes. No. It wasn't exactly black. I'm not,
Something wrong, Mr. Brushel.
Look. This is my story, my tidbit. Journalist info is livelihood, end quote.
I see.
While you have me chatting away in here, what's going on out there? What if someone, Wally Wordsworth or Sally Scooper gets wind of my story? They could be going to press while I'm going to waste.
The court feels your pain, Mr. Brushel. Mr. Justice, let's pick up the pace.
A certain case 7 years ago. Wait, 7 years ago? Where have I heard those words before? All the time, that's where. You think this is the first time the judge, Apollo, and Claudio are all on the same page? Yeah, because this fucking guy just throwing words out there. But, so, here's what I think happened here. So, I really don't think this guy did the killing. I really don't. I think somebody who wanted to shut the painter up from telling his story to a reporter because something 7 years ago he was going to admit and tell a story, and somebody didn't want his story to get out because clearly he was going to implicate somebody did something bad, and thus they killed him. That makes more sense than this reporter doing it, unless this reporter is somebody that he's not letting on. But I'm guessing that's the idea. This guy's just dumb and ridiculous. He has nothing to do with actually the kill. He's just there. He's the reason why the guy died, because the interview was going to happen. So somebody poisoned him before he got to tell his story, basically. So that's probably what happened. I can't imagine it being much different than that. Yeah, this witness is clueless as fuck, for real. He thinks he knows things that he doesn't. Ooh, also it's perception time, apparently. But let's press everything before we try to perceive. Alright, took a bit of work to get a thumbs up, huh? The victim, Drew Misham, had an aversion to reporters?
Boy, I guess. Not even my considerable charms did much for him. Until I finally got my thumbs up, that is.
Maybe you can elaborate on that a bit for us.
Okay, reporter leverages story, gets his interview. Exactly what sort of story was this?
Oh, a little one, like I said. Nothing more, nothing less, nothing in between. End quote. I might have suggested that I had a lead on this particular story, but I didn't threaten or cajole or nothing. like honest.
So a suggestion was enough to get an interview. Mr. Misham must have really wanted to keep it under wraps. Because someone might be mad about it and want to kill him for it. A certain case 7 years ago. Tell us, what case?
Let me state one thing, Mr. Attorney, and you can quote me on this. I can't talk about that case.
Why not?
It's about journalistic pride and staunchness and credibility and connections. Journalist reveals sources only over his dead body, end quote. So what'll it be? Gonna strangle me? Dead men don't tell tales, Mr. Attorney.
He sounds pretty determined not to talk.
Our chances of breaking his will aren't looking good.
Yeah. We'll just keep pressing on everything and we'll figure out what the best place to perceive something. It's probably this one, but I'll do that in a second. Anyway, let's talk about the red envelope that had something to do with it, probably. On the one hand, we have your story, and on the other hand, this letter. What makes you think the two are related?
Oh, I was just saying it's possible. Call it reporter's intuition, end quote. Hey, I say a lot of things. You're gonna pick all of them apart? Be my guest.
All of them? No, just the incredibly suspicious ones.
I see. Anything else to add about Mr. Misham?
The way he blinks upwards is upsetting. Would you call that blinking? Or would you call that just like bottom eye twitch? I mean, I guess he tends to blink from the bottom. Never mind. I'm watching him blink now. Yeah, it is a little unsettling. Alright, let's keep pressing. Last statement to press. Just how amazing was Mr. Misham's talent?
Huh? Hoo-wee boy. I mean, hey, he's a star, man. A star. The flow of his brush is like a great undulating river across the canvas. Artist paints light up studio like sun, end quote.
This guy's full of wacky gestures. That one just now was wackier than usual.
He looks kind of nervous to me, Apollo.
Definitely. I'm sensing something different something different than before here. Maybe it's time to bring out you-know-what.
That testimony left a bad taste in my mouth.
It all makes sense. Nothing jumps out as ridiculous.
I wonder what this story he's talking about is. It must have been good to get an interview with a famous recluse like that.
Something powerful enough to drag Drew Misham out of hiding. I wonder. Maybe it had something to do with Mr. Misham's art? Alright, so the fact that his art is bullshit. Drew's talent was without compare. This is where I'm going to perceive. Something here is questionable, I'm thinking. Say what you will. Drew's talent was without compare. Okay, I don't see anything there. Something with the fucking brush on his head, maybe? What about the eyes? Did the eyes tell me anything? I didn't really stare at his eyes directly. Do his eyes twitch at all or anything? No. Alright. Do it again. Check his neck. Check for a gulp or something. Drew's talents. Out without compare. Okay. Hear it again. Anything? Can we look lower? Alright, so nothing on that hand. Ha! Was that armpit sweat I just saw? There it is, guys. His armpit sweat. Drew's talent ain't shit, boy. Oh, I feel him too, DJ. I'm a sweaty boy as well. But, like, the fact that it just goes sweat, sweat gone. Sweat, sweat gone. That's fucking silly, but hilarious. All right, we found him sweating. Gotcha, bitch. Gotcha, bitch. Sweat much, Mr. Brushel?
Yeah, well, a man can't help his glands, you know.
It's more than that. When Mr. Misham's talent was mentioned, you suddenly began to sweat buckets, my friend. You're hiding something about his talent.
What? That's ridiculous.
Evidence time, bitch. Let's show where Mr. Misham's true talent lay. It just so happens I have evidence showing the talent mentioned in that letter. Yeah, I do. It's called forgery, bitch. I guess I'll just show the one that's, like, unfinished.
I can't help but wonder what the court is supposed to conclude from this. Other than that, you've made a horrible mistake. Man burns bridge, forgets to cross first. Ends quote. Aw, man.
Alright, let's try that again. All I have to do is reveal what Mr. Misham really was. Shouldn't be so hard, right? Just so happens I have evidence. Okay. Well, what evidence do I have that shows that he's a forger? A forgery man? I thought for sure it was that one, because that's the one that's half finished and has the fucking painting missing. Damn it. Is it the fact that the painting was stolen? Maybe it's the stolen painting. I don't really have any other ones to go off of. Yeah, okay, stolen painting then. This painting was found in Mr. Misham's studio. I should have led with the stolen one. Then we'll probably have to compare to the fucking one that he copied. There are two problems with this painting. The first is it wasn't painted by Mr. Misham. The second is that there was another painting in the studio, which looked exactly like this one, except it was only half done. See, why couldn't either piece of evidence work here? Because clearly we're comparing the two anyways with this statement. Sometimes with Ace Attorney, when there's multiple ways to get there, they should let you get there in multiple ways. I don't think they should be locked of showing the one piece of evidence that's correct when two pieces of evidence work here. It's kind of dumb. There are cases that allow multiple solutions. Well, in this one, it should have in this situation. I don't understand why. It doesn't make sense. Then we have a letter discussing a payment of $100,000, which suggests a certain business operation. The business of making forgeries, motherfucker! Ah! Wow. What a fucking shot that is. That is all, Your Honor.
Everyone, please, everyone! Can we keep this private, please? This is my story, my scoop.
Forgery, that's a serious crime.
Drew Misham is known as an artist these days, but there were rumors he dabbled in another kind of art until a few years back.
Another art, meaning forgery?
Drew Misham was talented, alright? Talented at making precise, detailed fakes. A fact that certain criminal elements were quick to discover.
Criminal elements? What? You can't seriously be talking about...
Exactly. I'm talking about forging evidence. The rumors started circulating 7 years ago.
7 years ago? So are we to understand that this letter, this payment of $100,000 was for...
Exactly. Forged evidence that's tiny profit, end quote.
Dude, we should send his bitch ass to the Shadow Realm. I think after this testimony from this guy, we'll probably never talk to him again, at least not in this game. Although I could see him returning now if he becomes a character in the frickin' story, but whatever.
Order! 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 Why, it's like our victim was living a double life.
This is my chance. So the victim had ties to the criminal world, right? He could have had plenty of enemies we know nothing about.
This is my first time hearing of this criminal world. We certainly found no criminal connections when we conducted our investigation.
But how do you explain all this money, motherfucker? You have to admit there's a possibility of some legal activity here.
But there is no proof tying this letter to our case. Our case was and remains simple from the beginning. Only the defendant could have poisoned that mug that night. And you, of course.
Hey, the only thing I poison in my pen when I'm writing reviews.
Oh my god.
Mr. Brushel, your testimony to this point has been quite unreliable. It doesn't speak well of your reporting acumen.
Well, what are you talking about? My journalism is rock solid. Journalism so solid, you can stand on an elephant. You can stand an elephant on it. End quote.
In any case, let's hear a summarized recap of your testimony. If we can ascertain the situation in that studio from the recap, the trial is over.
Apollo, what's he talking about?
The cross-examination showed Mr. Brushel didn't have reason or means to poison him. As long as there are no other suspects, then the killer had to be Vera. That's what. This next testimony is our last chance.
Mr. Brushel, your testimony, please.
Alright. Our last chance to prove somebody else could have done it besides this fucking guy. Or the daughter. The interview. A recap.
The only other person in that studio that night was the defendant. It was Vera who poured the coffee. She's admitted as much herself. The only thing that touched Drew's lips during the interview was that mug. And nothing left that studio after he died. Nothing. Clearly, the only one who could have poisoned him was his daughter.
Uh-huh.
A nice testimony, clear, succinct, and without room for doubt.
Ah, shucks. You really think so?
I believe this clarifies the situation that night. Very well, Mr. Justice. You may begin your final cross-examination.
Right. I still have one trump card left to play. And I won't let this trial end until I use it. Is it the poison we found on the little frame? Because that makes things questionable. But alright. Press everything. But that doesn't prove Vera poisoned it.
How many times have we heard that one, Airforehead? The poison reached its victim via that coffee mug. And from where did that coffee come from, Not to beat a dead horse again and again, but perhaps you could fill us in?
I'm on it. You need a horse to beat? You need a horse beat? I'm your man.
Dude, don't talk about how you beat horses, you fucking freak. Seriously. And you witnessed her pouring the coffee?
Of course I didn't witness it. When she came in with that tray, the coffee was already poured and a steaming.
Let us not forget the defendant has admitted to pouring the coffee herself. I heard her statement. I poured, I served, and I killed.
What?
That last part was just a little joke.
I don't think I'm going to get anywhere with this coffee mug. I need to find another weak spot in this case. Okay. Touched Drew's lips during that interview was the mug. Okay. You're sure about that?
You sure about that? Well, to be really precise, I was busy gobbling mint candies the whole time.
One of those candies might have been poisoned.
Yet at the time of the autopsy, no fresh fragrance of mint filled the room, and no mint residue was found.
It was a long shot anyway.
Don't tell me you're still trying to prove this. You think the victim ate, drank, or otherwise ingested something other than coffee? Well, Mr. Justice, you have some proof?
The possibility is there, I can feel it. Just maybe not prove it. Not yet. And possibility isn't going to cut it. Not now. Mr. Mistum ingested that poison via a route other than the coffee. Can I prove that? Hold on one second. See, here's the thing. Looks like you have to take this back part off first to put a photo inside. It'd have to be a really small photo to fit in there. True. And that pale bluish stain. Why would there be poison on something like this? Well, there's one obvious reason. Whoever put poison in the coffee rubbed a bit on here, too. That's not very obvious, Trucy. Yeah, I know. That's why I'm like... Is there any other reason to believe he got it on his mouth some other way? Or got it on the coffee cup some other way? Can I prove it? Not yet. It can't be proven.
I do believe our little forehead is growing up. Pity, we like the rash youthful forehead best.
Another hole in this case that needs plugging before I can prove anything. But first things first, I'd better uncover a weak spot before I try to strike again.
On with the cross-examination.
Okay, I'll come back to that if I need to. But let's see, nothing left that studio after he died. Okay, nothing! Is he like a pen chewer or something? I mean, it seems like it. Something like that, maybe. He definitely carries around a toothbrush, so who the fuck knows? Not one thing. You sure about that? You sure about that?
Yep, sure can be. Well, with one exception.
One exception? What?
Journalist Spark Brushel does interview. Leaves studio. End quote.
Okay, you left.
Come on! It's a joke, get it? Not funny, I know, but still.
Did something leave the studio that night? Why does that sound familiar? Where have I heard something like that before?
Now that we've proven our witness is a comedian of sorts, I'd like to turn to our defense attorney before returning to the testimony. Do you have any idea if anything might have left that studio?
I mean, you said he put a letter. The motherfucker did say he put a letter in the mailbox. And it was empty. Can we go can we roll with that? He did mention it before, like from this douchebag's mouth. He said it. I'm tempted, but I kind of want to finish looking at all the testimony first to see if I have another option. I can't think of a single thing. If anything did leave, wouldn't Mr. Brushel have noticed?
That I would. Nothing left, save myself, of course.
Say that again and you'll be held in contempt of court. Let's get back to the cross-examination, then.
Clearly the only one who could have poisoned him with it was his daughter. Okay, let me press that as well. You say clearly as though it were obvious. But this claim that the defendant poisoned the victim is merely conjecture, motherfucker.
Ah, yes, well, you see, in my business, it's all about making the most ridiculous things sound right. A bad habit, I know. Yes, well, actually, I guess this is more a case of ridiculous journalist sounds wrong, end quote.
The court is forced to agree with you. Please refrain from wild conjecture.
Understood loud and clear.
If only I could believe that.
What do you think, Apollo? Everything he's saying seems so not flawed.
Well, that's kind of what you want from a testimony, really. I need to keep my eye on what matters. How and why was Drew Misham killed? If Vera poured the coffee, that's not going to change. But if that coffee did kill him, I need to find what did and prove it. Okay. So... maybe he really did send an envelope. Alright. So, it's one of these two lines, right? I don't know if I have a contradiction for this one, unless it's the frame. Because if he did, in fact, have a yellow envelope that he licked and sent out, like this guy claimed before, then that's how he got it on his mouth. Like, he probably got it on his hands from whatever he sent in the envelope. Right? So let's picture it, right? He's got something in that frame, right? He takes whatever's in that frame is out. It has poison on it. He gets it on his hands, right? Or something. I don't know. It gets on something. He licks... oh. He did say something about licking a stamp, right? He also said something about licking a stamp. Maybe there was a stamp in here. That's why it's so small. Maybe that's what it is. And then the stamp poisoned his ass. Anyway, let's present... or, sorry, let's press on this again. Get to the part where it says that we have evidence for it. And I'm going to present the envelope. Or not the envelope, but the mailbox, because it was empty. It contradicts his previous testimony. Alright, let's do it. I think one thing might very well have left the studio that night, actually. A certain something has vanished from the crime scene.
By which you mean?
Something...
Something other than our witness.
Of course. It's this yellow envelope that people keep talking about.
Don't tell me, Vera Misham.
Believe me, any comic relief I may provide is entirely unintentional.
Then, let's see what you've got for us, Mr. Justice.
Well, this one thing wasn't at the scene of the crime, so I can't show it to you. But I do have evidence that shows how it could have been taken from the scene. Okay, that's the mailbox. Here we go. This is the only link between that studio and the outside world.
A letterbox.
What did Mr. Brushel just tell us? When he entered the studio on that night of the murder, the victim had just finished writing a letter. Yeah, I said that, and yeah, it was true. Furthermore, you went on to tell us that he put the letter in a yellow envelope and put it in the letterbox.
Oh.
But that very same letterbox was empty. In other words, that night, the yellow envelope disappeared.
Ah, yes, intriguing. So an envelope has disappeared from the scene of the crime. Of course, this changes nothing.
Huh?
He has a point, Mr. Justice. What we're trying to figure out here is how the poison got into Mr. Misham. Is it really important that his envelope the witness says he saw disappeared?
Well, if it did disappear, then something did leave the studio that night. That seems very important to me.
Very well then. The witness will add this to his testimony.
You got it.
I still think this fails to change anything, Air Forehead.
I wouldn't be so sure, bitch. A letter disappeared from the crime scene that night. This is exactly the opening I've been looking for. Absolutely. A letter was put in the post from the studio, but I hardly think that matters. Press it. Nothing could be more serious than an envelope disappearing from that studio. And you were hiding that fact from us! Yes, well, actually,
I don't argue the possibility that a letter disappeared from that studio. But, Air Forehead, isn't there a much more serious question before us?
Right. How Mr. Misham was poisoned, I know. But Mr. Brushel's testimony has changed, which means the facts of the case have too. And what he's told us means something entirely different now. I'm starting to think. Let's keep thinking, Apollo. Alright, I'm probably going to go back to the other one that we can press on. I'm going to press here. And I'm going to push on this one too and see if we can lead it to present the little frame. Because the other one got us to the mailbox, but this one I think might lead us to the frame. So, blah blah blah, one of the poison, Candies was poison. Still the victim either ingested it. Well, Mr. Justice, if somebody has proof. Possibility isn't going to cut it now. Just that poison via route other than coffee. I can prove it. Proof is possible. Here goes nothing. Oh boy. Did I fuck up already, or is he really just gonna be like, don't fuck up, bitch?
You do understand what we need, yeah? Proof, Air Forehead, not possibilities.
Of course. And Prosecutor Gavin, I hope you understand. I'm ready to give you that proof, motherfucker.
What did you say?
I have proof of the disappearing envelope. I saw him writing a letter, I did!
Which was picked up by the mailman, I assume.
Of course. Which means that envelope had a stamp on it. Here we go.
A stamp? Ah.
As we all know, stamps come with dried glue on the back. In order to use the glue, you have to wet it by licking the stamp. Yeah. I'm assuming we had to, like, do this in the right order to get here, because if I wouldn't have done the mailbox thing first, I probably wouldn't have gotten here yet. I would have probably been slapped with a, you don't have any evidence. Anyway.
No one worth talking to actually licks stamps in this day and age.
Even if you wanted to talk to him, you couldn't. He's dead, after all.
Okay, so he licked the stamp. But wait, how does that explain the atroquinine on the rim of the coffee mug?
If he licked the back of a poison stamp, the poison would get on his tongue, yes? What would then happen if he put the coffee mug to his mouth? Yeah, that's right, bitch. Put it together. Those traces on the mug weren't the killer's doing. It was the other way around.
What?
The coffee mug didn't poison Mr. Misham. Mr. Misham poisoned the coffee mug himself. Alright. Alright.
Order, order, order. But that doesn't... does it?
Recall if you would. Atroquinine is a slow-acting poison, yes? The poison entered his body when he put the stamp on the envelope. But his time wasn't up until the very moment he touched his lips to that cup of joe. Hence, the witness's story was true. He wasn't lying. He was just assuming it was the poison killed him instantly. See what I mean? A reporter caught exactly in the act, even though he didn't do it. Pretty much exactly what I expected.
You have something to add, Mr. Brushel?
Uh-oh, his nose is picking up another scent.
As I believe I mentioned earlier. Well, that's the thing, see? After he put his letter in that envelope, Mr. Misham sat there searching his desk drawer for something. Yes, a stamp. A so-called postage stamp. End quote. But you know, I don't seem to remember him ever finding one.
Maybe he just run out. Incidentally, we searched the desk drawer at the scene of the crime. There were no stamps. Not a single one. That does pose a problem. How will you prove that the stamp was coated with poison?
Actually, I'm glad no other stamps were found. It makes proving the stamp he used was poisoned possible.
Good show, good show. You can't even prove there was a stamp at the scene in the first place. Well, let's hear what the defense has to say anyway. Where's your evidence that proves the existence of this poison stamp?
Well, that's about the easiest thing I could have proven this whole time. Here you go.
Well, that certainly is a cute little frame. And by little, I mean really little.
It was on the victim's desk, Your Honor. Quite empty, as you can see for yourself.
I noticed that too during my inspection, so what?
Ah, apparently you weren't as observant as you should have been. Dumbass. You see, when you saw this frame, it was missing something quite important.
Missing something?
Yes, a pale bluish stain on the inside of the frame.
Atroquinine residue, motherfucker! What? Why wasn't I told about this?
The frame is only 2 inches square. The face of the frame is even smaller. Maybe an inch wide at most.
You aren't saying...
I am, bitch. Oh, but I am. Tell me, what fits in such a small frame? A commemorative stamp, perhaps?
Order, order, order! The poison stamp was in this frame? Impossible. Prosecutor Gavin? Why would he put something like that on his desk? Don't tell me he had it in there so he could commit suicide if the moon struck.
You know, can I say something? I had a thought, see?
What, Mr. Brushel? And please stop jittering around like that.
The victim was a forger, right? There's a lot of money in that line of work. Forger forges friends, makes enemies too, end quote.
So the poison stamp might have been a murder weapon aimed at him. Objection! Oh boy. What are you objecting about now, douchebag?
Oh, rich. That's rich. Leave the ridiculous flights of fancy to the Governor's song lyrics, please.
Finally, something we agree on.
The stamp was a murder weapon. Nonsense. Murder is a simple business. Who would go to such lengths? No one.
Oh, I disagree.
Come again?
Recall, if you would, the victim's reclusive lifestyle. Drew Misham hid from the world. He avoided meetings. His only contact with the outside world was the mail. Sorry, I just bumped my mic.
The mail? The mail! The mail.
Now, if you wanted to kill someone you couldn't meet, but you knew red letters, a stamp would be the perfect weapon.
Ridiculous. Where's your proof? I want proof. Show us evidence that this poison stamp was sent to him as a murder weapon.
I might not have evidence, per se, but things are finally starting to come together.
What is it, Apollo? Your fists are trembling.
I think I know what happened. I don't believe it, but I can see it. I think I know how Mr. Misham was killed.
Well, fill us in, Mr. Justice.
A certain piece of evidence points to the truth, Your Honor. I can show you how someone with the intent to kill sent Mr. Misham the stamp of death. Can you? Someone with the intent to kill sent Mr. Misham the stamp of death. Is it this letter? I need to remind you to speak of this to no one. Oh! Oh! I forgot this had enclosed Stompy Domp. Oops. Well, that's a piece of information I'm glad I read again. Well then. There you go. The person sent him this stamp.
Isn't this the envelope, the one from 7 years ago?
Think about the text of the letter again. Absolutely. I'm glad I read that letter again. When you read the last sentence, I was worried you were going to move on to the other evidence. Nah, this was the only piece of evidence that made sense. I wouldn't even have known what else to present. There were 2 pages in the envelope. This is page 1. Blah, blah, blah. And this is page 2. I want to draw your attention to one phrase in particular. Send in the enclosed envelope with the enclosed stamp within 3 days. The enclosed stamp, Your Honor.
Ah!
In other words, if I have this straight, the stamp, poison, on the stamp, lick, lick, gasp, end quote.
Now, what if he had done exactly as the letter asked?
He would sign the document, put it in the envelope, and put the stamp on it, right? Then he would put it in his letterbox.
15 minutes wouldn't have elapsed between affixing the stamp and mailing the letter. But the clock started ticking, and when the time came, he drew his last breath. And the murder weapon would be taken away from the scene.
Quite conveniently, thanks to the postal system.
Thanks, mailman. Assuming that the mailman actually took it, and not somebody else. Which I still question if somebody else did. Anyway.
Such a splendid imagination you have, Airforehead. Let me confirm one thing with you, if I might. So, this poisoned stamp was inside this envelope from the 7 years ago, yeah? Is that what you'd have us believe, really?
Well...
It is a little bit of a stretch, but there's a possibility.
Yes, a very small possibility. How small, I wonder? A poisoned stamp in this envelope, a stamp that then became the murder weapon. How do you intend to prove this seeming coincidence?
Well... It was 7 years ago, and we don't even know who sent that letter.
And your answer is silence. I see. Very well, I move to...
Whoa. It's not nice to pick on the Fraulein, Clavier. Who is this? Is this his brother? Or is this somebody else entirely? Who this? That's his brother! Also, what is he... Oh. It's Emma. I was gonna say... Don't trick me like that, motherfucker. She must have just did an impression of his brother real quick. That's pretty funny. Tricked me for a second, that's for sure. Anyway. Ah, Emma.
Well, like my Kristoff impression? Did I sound like him?
I did get you baited. That was hilarious. Don't quit your day job.
Don't you have a crime scene to be looking after, Fraulein Detective?
Someone had to come dig you out of all the mess you're making of this case.
Mess?
You know, none of this would have happened if you would just trusted us science a little more. You can find out if that stamp was in that envelope easy.
Care to explain yourself, Fraulein Detective?
Glare at me all you want, but science is on my side. It's all in the residue, right?
That's right, the poison detection spray. We didn't spray the envelope.
Produce the red envelope at once. You can open it on the authority of this court.
Alright. Bitchin'. Time to start spraying, y'all. There it is. Ha-ha! Got it. Easy game.
Well, would you look at that?
No mistaking it. That's atroquinine residue.
Got him. Poison seems really fitting. It'd be hard to stab him, for example, because I'm guessing from all the mail he receives, he'd be protected by a lot of chain mail.
Funny joke, even if you messed it up a little bit. He got chainmail, dog. It's very defensive.
Anyway, I don't believe it. A murder weapon from the past? Now, 7 years later, it bears its fangs at last. Absolutely outrageous. Tell me why. Why didn't this murder take place 7 years ago?
Well, there's one possibility. Maybe Mr. Misham figured it out.
Figured what out?
He realized that the person who sent that letter wanted him dead. So he sent his reply with a different stamp.
And put his decisive evidence in a frame.
That is a good question. Or assumption, even.
You're still here?
Can I make a statement here on the record? I, Spark Razortooth Brushel, claim this scoop as mine. Drew Misham killed in cold blood. By sender of 7-year-old letter. End quote. No, maybe something more succinct. Star falls after 7-year delay. End quote.
Order, order, order. I see no room for further argument here. Though I admit this is all coming as quite a shock. To think that the murder weapon reached his mouth after 7 years. Stamp his ticket straight to afterlife. End quote.
Uh-oh. I think the witness is a bad influence on our judge.
I see no need for further debate on this matter. The sender of that letter 7 years ago could hardly have been our defendant.
Apollo. I think we just won.
Very well. This court finds the defendant.
Oh god, here we go.
Is this the bright future of our legal system? Prosecutor, Gavin? A ticket to the afterlife from 7 years ago. Tickets for Gavin as shows are invalid after 2 weeks. But it doesn't make sense any other way. It boggles my mind that so many people haven't noticed this. There's a fatal contradiction in Air Forehead's claim.
A contradiction?
A poison stamp was placed in this envelope 7 years ago, whereupon it was framed until now. If that's the case, then why would Drew Misham have done what he did?
Emma explained that. He must have realized it was poison.
Therein lies the rub. 7 years ago, the forger Drew Misham sensed the trap and put the stamp in a frame. I do not debate this, but this begs the question. Why, 7 years later, did he use that stamp on the night of the murder? Surely you don't mean to suggest that Mr. Misham simply forgot. He put the murder weapon in the frame on his desk for 7 years and forgot? You expect us to believe he sprang the trap on himself?
I was kind of thinking the same thing earlier. I was like, why would he kill himself unless he really wanted to kill himself? So I don't really know what to think, like why it happened. We're going to have to work on why. But anyway.
While I admit this is all quite shocking myself, it does seem highly unlikely that he would fall afoul of a trap. That had been sitting on his desk for 7 years.
Apollo? I don't think we're winning anymore.
I'm glad to see we're all back in the real world now. Welcome back to reality. We've been waiting for you.
Wow. Okay, then how do you explain the poison stamp that was in this envelope?
The poison stamp? Where exactly is this poison stamp again? Have you brought it to court for us? I see no proof that such a thing ever existed.
Oh my god. What about the atroquinine residue, huh?
Oh, I agree. That does seem to be atroquinine residue, yes. But Air Forehead, it's certainly no stamp.
Yeah, but
even if your precious poison stamp did exist, Drew Misham never would have used it. That is all. I believe we've come to a conclusion, again.
Apollo, were we wrong the whole time? I can't believe it. The poison traces match up. It can't be a coincidence.
I'd like to bring some closure to this issue sometime this year. Mr. Justice?
Yes, Your Honor.
Let's review the facts and see where we stand. 7 years ago, Drew Misham received a red envelope. There were traces of the poison atroquinine on the document inside that envelope. A similar trace was also found at the crime scene, on this tiny picture frame. The defense has indicated the possibility of a yellow envelope, An envelope that left the scene of the crime with the poison stamped on it. Yes, but even if this envelope contained a poison stamp, and Drew Misham, knowing this, put it in a frame, he never would have used that stamp. I'm afraid you're right, which means there is a fatal flaw in the defense's case.
I haven't been on the wrong track this whole time, I'm sure of it. The traces of atroquinine, the envelope, the frame, and Drew Misham's mysterious death. They're all connected somehow.
Well, Mr. Justice, do you have a conclusion for us?
The defense stands by its case, Your Honor. We've seen that the logical outcome of the evidence makes no sense, which means that one of our clues must be a fake. Dun, dun, dun!
Ah, a fake clue. Fascinating. And if we find this fake, your wild fantasies will prove quite reasonable, yeah?
The fake clue that's thrown us off the poison's trail is none other than the fake clue. The fake clue. The fake clue might be the red envelope. Maybe. Because it was already opened and reclosed. And that was questionable already as it was. Or is it the frame? Actually, the frame could also be faked. Because why would he frame the stamp? It's definitely one of these two. I can't imagine that the guy who's dead is fake, because he's dead as shit. The fake clue is the guy himself. He's throwing us off the case, even though he's the one that died. No, that doesn't make sense. Which one makes more sense to be faked? The envelope, because it was opened and had the residue in it, and it said to use the stamp. Wow, imagine judging someone just because they frame stamps. Oh, I'm sorry, Alibium. It still seems weird that he would frame the stamp, right? Especially if he ended up using it and killed himself with it. It just makes sense that this would be the more fake one. But also, welcome to the stream, Alibium. How you doing? I'm going to go ahead and say it's the frame.
This frame is the fake clue?
Without a doubt, Your Honor.
Objection!
As revenge, spoiler alert, Apollo's a lawyer. Damn, Alibium. Ruin the game, why don't you? Thank you.
Wasn't it you who presented this evidence to the court?
Oh. Hold on a second, Apollo. The poison on the envelope, that frame, and the coffee mug? They're all connected somehow. Oh, right. I can hear it already. It looks like the fake was you, Air Forehead. We can flog ourselves later, Apollo. Now's the time for thinking. Wait, so it wasn't... It wasn't the frame? Are we really going to say it's the guy himself? Fuck it. I'm doing it.
The victim was a fake clue? I'm afraid I don't understand.
I'll explain. We have an envelope, a frame, and a mug linked by poison. That all makes sense. Oh. Oh. Maybe somebody put the poison on the mug? After the fact? No. Hold on. Yeah, what doesn't make sense is the victim himself. Okay, hold on. Let's just keep going. I'm not going to start guessing stuff right now because I'm just going to throw myself off.
Congratulations, you've completely lost me. So the fake evidence is none other than the master of fake himself, the forger. It makes a good story, I'll give you that.
Think about it. The fake clue. Fakes. Forgeries. Ah! I know that face. That's the I just had an idea face. I don't know if I'm right, but I'm going with it anyway. What if our forger is the fake?
Huh? Come again?
7 years ago, our forger sniffed a trap and stepped aside. 7 years passed. Now the forger stumbles into that very same trap and dies? Why?
That's what I want to know.
Because the forger who was killed was a fake.
Here we are again. The victim was a fake.
One forger smelled the trap. One forger fell into the trap. That's two forgers, and one of them was a fake. But what? I'm so confused.
Even I'm like, what? I am lost now. I'm like, what? How did we get here?
Order, order, order! So are you telling me that Drew Misham, the victim, was a fake? Well, if he was the fake, who was the real forger? You'd better not be claiming there was some kind of switcheroo. I'm afraid you're going to have to back up your story. Mr. Justice, show us just who the real Drew Misham was.
If Drew Misham wasn't the real forger, there's only one other person it could have been. Understood, Your Honor. Forger Drew Misham was himself a forgery. The real forger was... It's the daughter. There's no other person involved here. So we're saying that the daughter is the one that does all the forging and not the dad? Then why is the dad such a fucking weirdo? Alright, it's the daughter. It obviously is. There can only be one explanation, really. The real identity of the forger, known as Drew Misham, is none other than his only daughter, Vera Misham, motherfuckers! I don't know why, but I get why that can be possible, and why the dude didn't know about the stamp and why he would have licked it. It does make sense. Oh, I'm getting the bad ending because obviously it was supposed to be Emma. Damn it. I fucked up, y'all.
Order, order, order! Mr. Justice, this is going out on a limb even for you.
I kind of agree. I mean, Vera, a forger? Let's consider it before you write it off entirely. If you look at the paintings in the studio, one fact becomes quite clear. Forgery had been taking place in that studio for quite some time. The forger wasn't caught in that trap 7 years ago. This can only mean that the one who was caught in the trap wasn't the forger.
Well, actually that does make a certain kind of sense.
One more thing. Only 2 sets of fingerprints were found in the forger's studio. Drew Misham's and Vera Misham's. If we know that Drew Misham wasn't the forger, that leaves only one possibility by process of elimination. The forger was Vera Misham. Well... Can't argue with that possibility, bitch, can you?
Fascinating.
Forgery's better than murder. Just saying. There she is.
Vera Misham. You've been paying attention to the trial so far. Let's just ask her and be done with it, shall we? Who are you? Who is the forger? Drew Misham?
Who is the forger, Drew Misham? Was that an expression of emotion I saw on her face? She's staring holes into the prosecutor Gavin's face.
I'm used to being stared at by Fraulein's, believe me. Though they usually talk to me too. Tell us, were you the one who forged those works of art?
Yes. Wow.
So the forger Drew Misham was you?
Yes, it was me. What?
What? What?
Well, that just changes everything now, doesn't it, bitches? Doesn't it? Doesn't it? The court was in an uproar, and it wasn't coming down. We had to break for a 10-minute recess. To be continued, y'all. Damn. So this trial part 1 is going to continue, then. I thought for sure we were going to get back into investigating. But I guess trial part 1, that's it right there.